New at 6, it is data that is hard to hear. According to the latest census, St. Louis continues losing residents, but there is good news.
Other new data shows the heart of the city is beating loud and it's beating proud. First Alert 4's Dionne Broxton explains how it's topping growing St. Charles County.
We are in the middle of a renaissance here in St. Louis.
Catherine Neville with Explore St. Louis admits this isn't the narrative we usually hear about St. Louis, but she says it's true about the central spine of the city.
It seems like every few months we're hearing about these big, new developments and investments in St. Louis.
Recently, during a press conference about revitalizing downtown, Greater St. Louis Inc. CEO Jason Hall said that downtown, downtown west, midtown, and the central west end neighborhood saw a 13% population growth, according to the latest census numbers. Hall says that's faster than the growth of St. Charles County.
Trend experts say some of the biggest drivers behind growth are entertainment venues.
We are seeing developers investing in larger places that are really turning into these inflection points for the region.
Examples include City Park, Topgolf, the Foundry, and the Armory. Housing is also expanding in these areas, like the new Target in Midtown anchoring a housing complex. Longtime anchors in this area are also contributing.
There's tremendous growth in the Cortex region with all the hospitals that are there on the edge of the Central West End.
BJC Healthcare and WashU upped the amount of financial assistance its employees can qualify for towards buying a new house.
Making sure that we're really thinking about where can we make an impact for making home ownership more accessible to our team members, but also while really spurring development in areas that have not had that investment.
This includes areas in the central spine of the city and most outside of it, extending to some parts of the county.
We want others to do this too, right?
The hope is that other parts of the city will see growth too. In St. Louis, Dionne Broxton, First Alert 4.